Yes. 259. 259.
Identification,
Okay.
you pledge?
Yes, sir.
Hey, sweet, how you doing? I'm good. Yes,
Hey, How
ma'am.
are you doing? Good. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thought I got here early enough to get everything ready to go. Good afternoon and welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners August 3 workshop. I would ask that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I'd ask Commissioner Reginald Watts to lead us in the invocation and Commissioner Ryan Bolden to lead us in the pledge of the flag.
All right, let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, Lord, we would like to thank you. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon this community. And Lord, we just ask that you just continue to guide and lead us, Lord, especially as the elected official, God, as we make decisions for your people. So, Jesus, we thank you, we honor you, and it's in your powerful name your people have prayed. Amen.
If you would, please join me in the pledge allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a workshop. This is an opportunity for the staff and the commissioners to talk about specific subjects. There is no opportunity for citizens to make comments at this time. Item number 4, item 1, discuss approval of the out-of-state motor coach trip. Director Carmichael is here to discuss the out-of-state motor coach trip. Kelly, does the Travel Club have plans to attend the South Carolina State Ceramics and Fine Arts Show?
That is correct. That is correct. So by policy, all out-of-state travel requests come before you for a decision. And the fees are in alignment with current policy. And it should be a great trip.
All right, any questions from the commissioners?
No,
We'll
okay.
vote on this tonight, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Item number 2, discuss board up and blight ordinances. County Attorney Stephanie Wyndham is here to discuss the board up and blight ordinance.
Mr. Chairman, there weren't any changes that were suggested at the last meeting, so it is actually ready to be approved on first reading. The only thing that was suggested, Commissioner Dutton had mentioned the possibility of mandatory, more mandatory language upon the court. I'm not really comfortable doing that, but I did speak with Dr. Ledbetter about drafting an order, a proposed order that our officers will be able to present to the court. We do that very often as attorneys, and so our officers can have a proposed order which will have the language and the sentencing already provided. There will be some blanks left for the judge to fill in, and the judge can change what they like and keep what they don't, but at least that will be a starting point.
Do we have to put that into what
It
we're
would not
approving?
be in the ordinance, no, sir.
Okay. Any questions on this? We're voting on it tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wyndham.
Yes, sir.
Item number 4, discuss recommendation of award letter for CMAR of the 117th East Solomon Street construction.
Did you skip number 3?
Oh, excuse me. I got excited because our 4th member is here. Item number 3, discuss fire station number 7, bids for resurfacing of the parking lot.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Chief.
How are y'all?
Hey, Chief.
Out at Station 7 on Bond School Road, there is a place, and do we have the presentation? We can wait till tonight. Okay. We need to request funds out of the fire district tax, out on Bond School Road. If you could go to the next slide, please. You'll see that in the corner, and I'm gonna give you a kind of a map aerial view too, where they make the turn to come into the back of the station with the fire engines. The asphalt's just not holding up, and every time they make that turn, it digs in, and we're afraid it's gonna become a hazard and either damage tires or just dig in and get stuck before it's over with. And this is a closer view and a distance view, so you can see the turn. And you gotta remember, a fire engine load of water is about 50,000 pounds on this asphalt, making that hard turn. You can skip to the next one. This is the location. We did receive two different proposals for milling and resurfacing the driveway. The proposal was submitted by Southeast Pavement and Piedmont Paving and Grading. And I'm gonna be honest with you, with all my years of experience, it is not in concrete or paving, so we've deferred to our friends at Public Works. And Keith King went through it, and, Randy King went through it, and Mr. King went through it. I get my Kings mixed up. And went through it and helped us evaluate those proposals. Next, please. The staff proposal reviewed two proposals for milling and resurfacing. The proposals were again submitted by those. That's an aerial view, and if you look, go back one. If you look, it's right in the corner where it's going down the side of the station. It makes that turn and go in the back. That's where it's digging in every time. Next. So proposal, Southeast Pavement came in a low proposal of $82,988. Piedmont Paving Grading submitted one for $94,657. However, Piedmont did include striping of the lot, which is part of, they're going to have to redo the whole parking lot on that side, which would be striping. Piedmont would also wind up probably having to lower their bid too, because it included traffic control, which will not be necessary for this project because it won't be on the main roadway. And again, this will be funded through the fire district tax. Next slide. This is a side-by-side comparison of what was compared. You'll see it highlighted is going to be our recommendation to go with this project, even though it's slightly higher, which we still have to get a final price when they take out the traffic control figure. But the striping was a big part that was included. Ms. Stephanie did point out there was two parts of the contract of concern, but those were under Southeast, not under the ones we're recommending.
No, they are actually under Piedmont's contract.
They are in Piedmont?
Yes, one is the indemnification, which we cannot do, and the other requests that requires the jurisdiction to be in Coweta, and we always ask that be changed to Spalding. So there are those two changes that we will need for Piedmont to make. We've dealt with them in the past, and they have made those changes without any issue.
So, as asking for the approval, if they were to come back and can give us any problems about this, we would reapproach.
So we don't have a contract for tonight, or we do?
You have a contract that you could approve, with the changes as requested by legal counsel. And if Piedmont refuses to make those changes, which I would not foresee, then we would not have a contract.
So, was that a yes or no?
It's a yes and, or maybe it's a yes but.
Okay, cause I don't have a lot of confidence in doing contracts that aren't what we read. So, is this a
I
burning
do
bush?
not disagree with you, Commissioner Flowers Taylor.
Is this a burning bush? They got a date stamp on it?
Has this got to be done before the next meeting?
No.
We can bring it back for the next
Okay.
meeting.
Look, I got a question. Okay, why Public Work can't do this?
What?
Like, why our Public
We don't
Work-
pave.
We don't pave, okay, I got you.
Okay.
All right.
No, if there were any problems, we could bring it back and readdress it. It's not something that has to happen tomorrow. But we do need to get it before the foreseeable future, before it leads to some sort of incident.
All right, so
I wanna ask a question too, following up behind Reggie. So if that was a 4x6 hole in the road, a regular paved road, Public Works would go out and cut that out and replace it, right? I mean, the one spot that he showed us where it's all tore up, right?
EJ, you wanna come
So,
forward?
I mean, because the way we're looking at how we're doing roads now, we're not doing the whole roads, we're talking about doing just the
Sections.
damaged section.
Yes.
So my thing would be, did we get whoever it is that's looking at our roads to assess that piece of roadway and determine that the entire road need to be paved, or just those places that were terrible? And then are you gonna get curb and gutter to go along with that? And then, how come this isn't transportation?
type of tax?
It's a parking lot.
Yeah, this is a parking lot for the fire department only, so it would not be considered a part of the transportation unless you deemed it a part of the present,
I'm
part
just saying,
of
that's how the
transportation.
senior center's parking lot was paid, with transportation funds. So I'm just asking the question because it's been done before.
Right, so TJ, the question was if it was a 4x6 square that was put out, would your guys be able to pave it, or would we contract that out to Piedmont or to a Southeast?
The 4x6 would, just depending on what our depth and base is, would most likely, a 4x6 would be by us if there was no milling involved. So milling would be the approach and
The real question,
Oh,
TJ, is could you do this cheaper?
no, we don't have a milling machine, which is several $1 million. And then we don't have a paver, which is not several million, but a lot. So we do not have the equipment to do this job.
Okay,
So, yeah, not to do the entire road, but you're showing us a piece of it that's raggedy. And when I look at roads that we're looking at, that our folks are driving up and down, you're going to that spot and saying, this 6x22 piece is bad, this will be replaced, and then the rest of the road is. So my question is, how was this road graded?
The only thing difference I've seen in this parking lot is a lot of alligator going around on the entire, the cracking. There's nothing to tie to. So even if they replace like a small section there, it just
But
weeks or months, it's just gonna keep
I
going out
get
across
that.
there.
I get that, Ryan, but what we're doing on the roadways that we're trusting our residents to ride on is that we're evaluating pieces of the road and saying that only that piece needs to be fixed. Now we want to pave a whole walkway or driveway for the fire department, and there's no documentation here that says me that this is a 3, this is a 4, or this section is. So I'm just trying to understand. I know it'll look cuter and it'll look neater, but is it really necessary to do the whole driveway?
Can we refer back to the picture, please?
And the parking lots were not assessed through the RAS, through the Road Assessment Survey.
So that's correct. We don't do the parking lots in the PCI, but if you will look at the picture here, you can see that that condition of pavement, which is the cracking, the alligatoring, that is an indication of a base issue. So that's why you would have the milling, and that extends through the whole entire length of that driveway. So this needs to be milled.
So,
It's just like we did at, well, it's half of the process that we did at Jackson Road.
so what you're saying to me is that if I ride out Second Street and these alligator cracks are all over the road just like this, but there's no big hole in the road, that road is fine? Because that's what I'm hearing.
No, I'm saying that this indicates a condition that needs to be repaired in its entirety.
Right, but we're
think
not
that's the
doing
question.
that, that's what I'm saying, we're not doing that with every other road. If you have a roadway that doesn't have a hole, and we have lots of roads that are cracked like this, and either you guys are masticing it, or you're just saying it's not ready, it's on the 5-year list, or it's on the 7-year list. I'm just trying to make sure that we're using the same measurements that we're using, if it is a roadway, the same measurements that we're using for everything else.
We're using the same repair process.
I know,
We didn't
but I'm
use
saying the
we don't
determination
rate
piece.
these, but we are using the same process. Yes, ma'am. The answer is yes to your question. In reference to the process and why this needs to be milled. So if this was on a roadway, this particular section here, this would also be a recommendation for milling and or patching before you applied the OGI and the topping.
Okay, so you're saying this would be a road for recommendation for complete paving, for the entire road?
For that segment, it would
Okay,
either
so
be a
that's what
mill.
I'm trying to get to. Are we
That's right.
doing a
Yes, ma'am.
segment, or are we doing a whole road?
Well,
We're doing
if
a
this
whole
was on a
driveway.
road, we would be doing the segment, and the segment will be rated exactly like you're saying. And then this would either be the milling, like is being done here, or it would be a major patch, and then OGI and topping, or this would be an FDR situation like Jackson Road. So you would have those 3 options.
So,
and your recommendation would have been?
This right here, so this was,
analyzed by our road supervisor, Kevin King, and I would concur with his recommendation as that would be the least expensive of those three options.
Again, I heard what you're saying. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay.
Segment, when we made the decision to jump to segments, we now look at spaces like this.
Correct. So this will be a good example of how this will work starting next year. This, if you would indicate, just relate this driveway as a segment, which would be intersection to intersection. We'll be treating those segments differently throughout the course of the road based on the condition and what we need to do to correct the condition.
This one, the way it looks to me right now, this requires full from one end to the other end.
That's
which
correct.
is the way we used to do it, or we're doing it right now with T-Splosh. We're doing it that way almost.
If this pavement here needs to come up, and that's what's recommended in here.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, I don't feel like there's enough information for me. I mean, y'all do what you want to, but I'm just saying, if it wasn't for the hole, they could drive on it. Because we're making people in the street drive on the road just like that, without holes in it, so.
It probably would have been better if we could have got AGI or whoever it was who's done the rest of our roads to put this in there. So then we would have seen this was wherever it was on the long list, the 50-year list or 40-year list, where it would have been with us.
So these funds are coming out of what to do this?
Fire fund.
Fire fund. Okay.
Mr.
All right.
Chairman, will it be the recommendation to table this tonight so I can get a marked up copy over to Piedmont?
It will be for me. I will make a motion to table it.
I second.
You would table? You want to table?
I would
We're not
table.
tabling.
Oh, yeah, right.
This is regarding the contract,
The contract
information that's in the
itself.
contract that is not in there yet.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
Needs
would
to
like
be
table it.
removed.
We were
yes.
gonna be not doing it anyway because of, those two changes you wanted to make in it. Yeah, okay.
That'll work.
All right, so we'll table that. Just remind me when we get to it. All right. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Chief.
Thank you.
Item number 4, discuss recommendation of award letter to CMAR of 117 East Solomon Street reconstruction. Dr. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The item before you this evening is for recommendation to move forward with the construction manager at risk contract with Headley Construction for the 117 East Solomon Street reconstruction project. This recommendation is important because 117 East Solomon is not a simple construction project. It is a reconstruction project that involves demolition, design coordination, cost control, scheduling, and careful management of unknown field conditions. And for this reason, the Seymour delivery method is appropriate. It allows the county to bring the contractor into the process earlier so that we can evaluate constructability, review cost, identify risk, coordinate with the design team, and create a more reliable path before major construction decisions are locked in. This is also not a recommendation made in isolation. Croy has been assisting the county with project management services for the project, including the remaining demolition in the Seymour bid process, the design completion. The RFQ for the construction management at risk services was posted through the Georgia Procurement Registry, and the county received 4 bids for consideration. Croy then provided the recommendation of award letter for the Seymour 117. The reason I believe that we should move forward is that this delivery method gives the county a better opportunity to control the project before the project controls us. In a traditional model, many issues are discovered after the plans are completed and the contractor is already in the field. With the Seymour, the contractor helps identify cost, schedule, and constructability concerns early. That can reduce surprises, improving coordination, and give the board better visibility into the project's direction. Headley Construction also brings relevant experience. The company is a Seymour at-risk contractor, and they list this on their services on their website. The county also has recent experience working with Headley on other public facility projects, including Fairmont Event Center, where the team has worked diligently to complete the project on time and under budget. Moving forward tonight does not mean that we stop making or managing risk. It means we manage risk in a more deliberate way. The contract includes the normal safeguards the board would expect to include the attorney review, insurance, bonds, clear scope language, schedule expectations, change order controls, and continued oversight by the county project management and design professionals. The advantage of moving forward with a CMAR approach is that we can begin the construction or the coordination of the construction now rather than waiting until later in the project when changes are more costly and more disruptive. For these reasons, I recommend that the board approve moving forward with the CMAR contract with Headley for the construction of the 117 East Solomon Street reconstruction project, subject to final contract review and standard county protections. Why should we use a CMAR instead of a traditional low bid? Because this project involves reconstruction in coordination with demolition and design completion. CMAR allows the county to involve the contractor earlier in constructability review, cost estimating, schedule, subcontracting coordination, and construction oversight. This project was competitively bid. The RFQ was posted on the Georgia Procurement Registry, and we received 4 bids that were reviewed by Croy. I believe that this way of project management actually protects the county. The board can approve moving forward while requiring final county attorney review, verified insurance, payment and performance bonds, defined scope, schedule, cost control provisions, and formal change order procedures. And with that, I would entertain any questions.
Okay, I don't know what the ask is. And who was the low bidder? You said that Croy evaluated.
Headley was the low bidder.
No, but the CMAR, doing a CMAR is so that you can look at the bid, not based on the low bidder. Am I understanding?
Actually, the CMAR does require the low bidder to be awarded for construction. It affords us the opportunity to include a construction team as a part of the final design, which would include such things as the water lines in downtown, the underground, any underground areas of concern. If we make the decision to stay with a 2-story, then the foundations are still going to need to be removed and reconstructed. But if we go with a 3-story facility, then the foundation would need to be expanded to include for that additional weight. So there's a lot of considerations that this team will bring to the table in support of a construction of a new facility that will be designed for next door.
I'm just saying that because I Googled it earlier today and it says that a CMAR, construction manager at risk project, uses a qualification-based and best value selection process rather than picking the lowest price. So that's why I'm trying to I want to know who the lowest bidder was. And the other piece that I'm confused about is I don't see any dollar amount. How much is this going to cost us?
I thought that was included. If not, then I will make sure that you get that before the
I'm
next
just looking
meeting.
at what's on the screen, and as I go through the agenda, I don't see that. Do y'all have it?
It was not.
I will make sure you get that before the next meeting, Gwen.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay.
Do we have will we have a timeline, or how soon will we be able to have a timeline? Should we agree to go with this?
If we choose to move forward with that, the timeline would be designed as we move forward with the programming of the building next door. That would really depend on whether or not we choose to move with a 2-story or a 3-story facility.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Item number 5, discuss the 2026 capital improvement element, CIE, and community work program, CWP, for Spalding County and subsequent transmittal resolution for the 2026 capital improvement element and the community work program to Three Rivers Regional Commission. Ms. Morales, are you here to discuss this with us? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. I respectfully recommend approval for the 2026 Capital Improvement Element, CIE, Annual Update, and authorization to transmit the document to the Three Rivers Regional Commission and the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, also known as DCA, for review and approval. This action is required under the Georgia Planning Act for local governments that assess development impact fees and ensure that Spalding County remains in compliance with the state planning requirements, while retaining its ability to collect and expand impact fees for eligible capital improvements. To understand the importance of this action, it is helpful to first understand that the capital improvement element is the CIE is essentially the county's long-range infrastructure planning document, and identifies the public facilities and capital improvements that will be needed to serve current residents and accommodate future growth over the next 5 years. The document outlines projects, estimated costs, funding sources, implementation schedules, and departmental responsibilities. In short, it serves as the county's roadmap of ensuring the infrastructure investments are planned, prioritized, and coordinated in a fiscally responsible manner. The CIE is directly linked to the county's impact fee program. The impact fees are one-time charge assessed on new developments to help fund the infrastructure required to support the growth. These funds help ensure that a portion of the costs associated with the population growth are paid for by new development rather than being borne entirely by the existing taxpayers. Impact fee revenues may only be used for the eligible capital improvements that expand public capacity and serve future growth. This funding mechanism helps the county plan productively for new residents, businesses, and development activity while protecting local taxpayers from absorbing the full cost of growth-related infrastructure investments. The annual impact fee financial report demonstrates that Spalding County has managed these funds responsibly. During fiscal year 2026, the county collected approximately $1.8 million in impact fee revenue and maintained a total impact fee fund balance exceeding $7 million. These funds are dedicated to future capital improvement across multiple service areas, including parks and recreation, fire protection, emergency communications, emergency management, libraries, administration, public safety facilities. The report demonstrates both compliance and financial accountability in the administration of impact fee revenue. The proposed 2026 CIE includes numerous projects that align with the board's long-term strategic priorities. Among those are water and sewer infrastructure investments that support economic development opportunities throughout the county, park improvements that enhance quality of life for residents, upgrade to fire and emergency response capabilities, transportation planning initiatives, stormwater management improvements, public safety facility investments, and modernization of the county facilities. These projects are not simply construction projects. They represent investments in public safety, economic competitiveness, quality of life, and the continued growth of the community. Several projects are particularly noteworthy because they directly address growth-related infrastructure needs. The plan includes significant investments in water and sewer expansion, continued improvements to parks and recreation facilities, future fire station improvements, emergency communication infrastructure, transportation studies, and implementation efforts associated with economic development corridors. By identifying these needs today, the county can better coordinate available funding sources, pursue grant opportunities, and ensure the infrastructure keeps pace with the development rather than lagging behind it. Commissioners may ask why this annual update matters if many of these projects are already known or underway. The answer is simple. The state law requires communities that utilize impact fees to maintain a current capital improvement element. Approval of this update demonstrates that Spalding County continues to evaluate growth trends, assess infrastructure needs, and plan responsibly for future developments. Maintaining an approved CIE preserves the county's authority to continue collecting and using impact fees as intended. You may also ask whether approval of the CIE commits the county to constructing every project listed in the document. The answer is no. The CIE is fundamentally a planning document. Individual projects will still come before the board for budget consideration, funding authorization, design approval, and procurement actions as appropriate. Rather than serving as an authorization to spend funds today, the CIE serves as a strategic planning framework that identifies anticipated needs and allows the county to remain eligible to use impact fee funds for future projects. Ultimately, approving and transmitting the 2026 capital improvement element is a sound governance decision. It demonstrates prudent long-term planning, preserves an important revenue source that helps offset the costs of growth, keep the county in compliance with the state requirements, and positions Spalding County to continue investing in infrastructure and public facilities necessary to support residents for years to come. For this reason, I respectfully recommend that the board approve the 2026 capital improvement element update and authorize its transmittal to the Three Rivers Regional Commission and the Georgia Department of Community Affairs and Certification. Commissioners, the capital improvement elements, more than just a compliance document, identifies real projects that will improve the daily lives of our residents. The 2026 update includes investments in sewer infrastructure and support economic development, new fire protection facilities, and improve emergency response, park improvements, and enhance quality of life. Transportation studies that prepare us for future growth, and public safety investments that strengthen our community. By approving the CIE, we maintain our eligibility to collect and utilize impact fees, ensure that growth continues towards the infrastructure necessary to support the growth rather than placing the full burden on existing taxpayers. The document before you represents responsible planning, fiscal stewardship, and clear vision of Spalding County's future.
Wow, thank you. All right, when's this due?
It is due before the end of the month so that DCA has enough time to review and return their comments before the final adoption in October.
October 3rd.
Mr. Chairman, the resolution is approved as to form.
Okay. Comments?
Yes. First of all, there's items on here that are from rec services that never came to Leisure Services Board for review. So I have a problem with that. Not that they're not correct, but the process is that they're supposed to be reviewed. The other piece, and I've shared this last year and this year, this format is weird for me, because I should be able to see a legend that says to me this project is completed. We have projects on here for 2026. We're in fiscal year 2027. Every project that's on here for 2026 should be telling me now it's completed, it's in progress, 75%, not started, unfeasible. When the people at DCA look at this, that's what they want to see. They don't want all this trying to figure out. So I have a problem with the comprehensive work plan, which is everything we wish we could do next year, being part, having the CIE embedded in it. Because the CIE should talk about projects we said that we were going to do with impact fees only. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? Yeah.
It includes impact fees, grants, and general fund. Those are the three areas that we list on our CIE.
Right, I know that, but it's primarily to determine whether or not funds for these projects are impact fee fund eligible. Right. Isn't that what you read?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how are they going to know at DCA without having to dig through all these papers that we hit the mark on what we are? For 26, there should be something that says done, not done, because several of these projects over here aren't. And so my question is, how do we know that they're actually still feasible? Because you didn't get them done in 26. I don't have anything that tells me that they're in progress. Some of the other places, I don't understand why the water authority is in here. We don't have the development authority in here. We don't got the airport authority in here. Why are they on our comprehensive work plan? It's too much stuff on here. There's too much stuff for what it is that DCA is asking. We've had DCA to come and talk to us. We've gone to them. They have made it clear they don't need all this frill. They just want to be able to see that this was a plan you had last year, and this is a plan that you have this year, and the things that you said were going to get done this year, give me a status on them. So I've got some concerns with this.
We actually removed some of the items from the CIE from last year, and DCA made us put them back because they were in the previous year.
You
I've got
didn't
some
tell
of
us that.
I've got some of the same concerns that you do with respect to the formatting. We submitted a format that was more in line with what you recommended, and they sent back with a recommendation for us to turn it back into exactly what you're seeing. It was an interesting back and forth.
I would like to see that, because
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to know what it is that they're saying that they want different. Because even at, as recent as at a Three Rivers meeting that we went, the DCA was there. They talked us through what this is supposed to look like. So, there's there are entries in here for economic development that are also under the water and sewer plan, which, as far as I'm concerned, is not us. Then there's some economic development under administrative. That's redundant. Doesn't need, and then there's a reference says go back to sewer and water. It just does not. It's too much stuff. There's extra stuff.
Again, when we have time, correct? Between now and the next meeting to approve.
We do have time.
That's correct.
Can
I will.
we get it done in time to be able to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so, tonight, we'll table this till the next meeting.
This is our first
For the first hearing.
reading and our public hearing.
So I would like for you to not table,
Okay.
if possible, and move
So,
forward with the changes on the next hearing.
What's your idea of between, I'm with Ms. Gwen on usually not approving things that I haven't seen all right.
We will be happy to set that aside, but we will have to re-advertise for 15 days, and that would most likely require us to push into September before we submit to DCA.
That's pretty close.
Mhm.
That's pretty
Dr.
close.
Ledbetter, could you have the public hearing without the approval?
We could,
Okay, so tonight we'll have the public hearing and no vote on the, first reading.
that would be what I'm hearing, yes, sir?
All right, we all square with that?
So if you are all fine with the fact that the stuff from Leisure Services didn't get reviewed by the board, I can live with that. I just want to make sure that we're following the process, and if we are, if we have to have a public hearing first, right?
We do,
One public hearing.
we do.
Yes.
So we can do a public hearing tonight,
Correct.
and then we have to have 2 readings, and what were we told it has to be done by, the end of August?
We,
The end of October.
we need it done before, we really need it done before the end of August so that we can give DCA their requested 30 days for responding.
We could do it twice, once at, the second meeting and then once at the, public zoning.
Okay, so then they could still have it by the end of the month. Okay.
I want to recognize TJ.
TJ, I see you came forth.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The Leisure Services Board, plaque was supposed to, scheduled to have that looked at last month, but they canceled that meeting. Several months prior, that, plaque did designate a new Buildings and Grounds Committee that has been working on this in the background. They also went ahead and sent out notification to all members asking for items that they would like be looked at here. They did do that. Those items were sent back to the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and they were going to bring that back up at the next meeting in reference to the updates. The 2026 items all the updates are on there. They had not changed. They did recommend the addition of 1 item on the 2027, and then all the other updates are for 2031. That would be subject to update over the next 4 years as well. So the meeting cancellation last month did cause some difficulty for that subcommittee.
Well, and I totally get that, but the process is that it's supposed to go through Leisure Services and then get a recommendation to come to us.
It will be at that next meeting, and that's why that committee was communicating via email for all the suggestions. There was only 2 suggestions made from all of the plaque members, and they have been incorporated into the plan.
Okay, so, but
Will,
still. I
will
think-
they have, will Leisure Services have it by our next meeting?
So it'll be the third, so it'll be next Thursday. It'll be next Thursday when they will meet, yes.
Okay, so when we get it back at our, for what will be really and truly the first reading on the 16th or whatever that the date is, 17th, then we'll also get the leisure services stuff that Ms. Gwynn is talking about to us first, to us to approve, so that then it's correct in the list. And then we will do the vote on the first reading. that
Yes, we'll
way.
have that on the agenda for next week, but all recommendations from all committee members was incorporated in this, in what you're seeing tonight, based on their responses.
Right, the committee is 2 people, the board is 12. They still need to see it. That's all I'm saying. They
It'll be there
still
next
need
Thursday.
to be able to see
Yeah,
it.
you're saying it did not get to us to approve.
It didn't get to the plaque to make a recommendation to us, just for the plaque stuff. They don't look at the public works and whatever else. And the other thing was, what number is the law enforcement piece on here? I didn't see any law enforcement projects.
It's under public safety. The bottom part of it, they
Does it have a number, Eva?
It does, but I can't remember off the top of my head on it. But they have a training center. They added a training center, and they have a new facility on there.
Okay, so, again, every year we keep saying they got to get a new jail. I don't even know why this is an impact fee project, because $180 million is not gonna happen. That needs to be a capital project by itself. It really doesn't, it just blurs this up. So I feel a little some kind of way about that, because when I saw it was that, and then it was, maybe it was a tactical vehicle. I'm trying to look through this little writing to see what it is. But yeah, why do we keep putting the law enforcement center in there? That needs to be its own capital project.
It is their own special portion of the impact fee, because we do have a law enforcement or public safety impact fee component. Remember 5 years ago now, when Bill Ross and his team came in and did the calculations for us, they actually calculated specifically for the amount of money that an impact fee would be allocated for a new jail, the equipment that was required, and it is a very small amount, because they are looking solely at the amount of funds for the new growth that comes into the community. It's not for a replacement, it's just for that new growth. And there are some funds that are available, but you're correct, it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all.
If our jail is only built for 250 people, and the daily capacity is 400, we've already hit the mark for needing, so why is that calculation not higher?
Because, remember, that's not our calculation.
I
That's
know, but can't we go and have, because
we tried diligently to
And this
get
is
them to do that, and it is only calculating the amount of population that we had when the jail was constructed to the new population, and there's like $600,000 that's available for it. It is very, very small.
what is their annual collections, about 200? Are they getting at even 200,000 a year?
Probably.
Very close.
Now they are, because of the commercial development that we've got coming in. But just to reconstruct a jail, it's not designed for that. It's designed to make up the difference between what the population was and what the population is today.
So, the money can be there, and each year it can be something else. I just think it's kind of, to put detention facility on here and only impact fees only gonna pay 23% of it. That is so far away.
It is.
It's not a really good work plan to have.
And we pushed back on Bill Ross and his team specifically for that, asked them if there was something else that we could allocate the monies for with respect to the sheriff's department, and we get the response back that it is solely designed for a detention center.
So, but it says here at number 67 is a training center.
It is, and that's a part of the detention center to allocate for training for the sheriff's department. That's a part of it. The detention center is a part of it, and the increased space requirements for an evidence room is a part of that. Which
I don't
is,
see that on here.
I think that went out last year because we actually paid for some of that out of last year's impact fee.
See, that's the other piece. We don't really know I can't remember what the report looked like last year. It would have been really nice to see where we were last year and then where we
We will make sure that we get that for you at the,
I
at the
would
next
like
meeting.
it. I don't care about anybody else, but it helps me to be able to decipher where we're moving.
We
But
do that for T-Splosh, we can do the same kind of thing here.
I'm just saying, like, looking at the training center, you say that's part of the detention center. So why has it got a separate thing?
The conversation that we had with Chief Thomason was that he wanted that called out separately, along with the detention center and the evidence room and the vehicle. When we called them out specifically separate for supporting the sheriff's department.
Okay, I don't see a vehicle on here. I see detention facility, training center, communications tower, and then warning siren. And
The
warning
vehicle-
siren is for the CI?
It's public safety.
See,
And public safety also includes fire.
but the fire has their own stuff at the top.
Don't
So how come their
disagree.
stuff is down here?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'm not trying to be,
I agree with you. We made those changes last year,
We
and
appreciate you
I
saying it,
moved
so
everything around so that it was very clear in how the document was structured. And the response that we got back from DCA was, put it back the way it was, so it's easy for us to determine which projects are what.
Is that simply because
how
they
can you
took-
determine that a warning siren for the fire department is under public safety instead of the fire department, where at the very top of the page you got a
It's-
fire truck
It's
and a-
EMA,
all
emergency
fun-
management.
It all falls under emergency management, public safety.
So what I would say on this, so the communications tower, is that also part of the detention facility?
That's actually a part of radio.
Okay, but it's $300,000, and it says 100% impact fee. So
100% of that is impact fee. That's how much money that it would have cost us 10 years ago to move the tower out of Wild Plum over to someplace else, get off of the lease. And as of our last quote, it will be somewhere north of $830,000 for that move.
okay, but that's not what's on here. It says 301. See, I don't know what's for the sheriff's department on here. That's a problem for me. I don't know what the fire department is on here, and because they're in different places on here, I feel like some of these things are on here twice. So,
All right, we have an opportunity to fix it between now and next meeting with us.
We have an opportunity to provide you with a legend on a separate document that will make it easier for you to read and me to read, which I desperately want. But DCA is asking us that we keep this format for them.
so I'm not worried about the format. I'm worried about the fact that these are categorized in such a way. The other thing, Steve, is that if it is in our work plan to get a detention facility, is there, so we know that it's really not a viable work plan, is what I'm saying. So there was nothing else that Chief Thomason needed to have done in this coming, in fiscal year 27, because that's where we are now, right? Fiscal year 27?
Yes.
So what do we do about the projects that are in 2026? Because I'm thinking this should be saying 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31.
That is correct. That's what it should be saying. It should not say 2026. Those projects should have been moved forward if they were still viable projects. The answer to your question is if we are only afforded roughly $600,000 for the construction of a new detention facility, this is really not the place for that project to even be discussed. And the reason I say that is because there will never be enough money in impact fees to
Get us a
pay
facility
for
we
a
need.
new jail facility. It just does not make any feasible sense. The opportunity for us is to find the right financial mechanism that we can pull the trigger on to build a new jail, because this is definitely not it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering if I mean, I don't know how much money they have in their fund, but the fact that they're not trying to buy anything, I hope they're just not trying to save up money for a jail, cause I'm gonna be too dead by the time that happens.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think that there is an opportunity for us to examine what else we can do using DCA's guidance. Is it an option to move those funds out of a new detention facility, recognizing that we will never see that fund available to build a new jail, and put it back into vehicles or other equipment, something that actually
That they
makes
can
sense?
use,
That's
right.
correct. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we just need to figure out what we're gonna do about the jail, but just sticking that on that label for that, and then knowing that they're not gonna get it is crazy.
And it will never be used for anything. It will sit there and grow into perpetuity, and that's not benefiting our community at all.
Okay, well, maybe you can talk to Tony.
So what are we gonna do tonight? with
Right.
this?
On this one tonight, bottom line is we're gonna table this tonight.
Public
Have a
hearing.
Public hearing, and then the part of signing the resolution, and everything else, we'll table it until the next meeting, our regular next meeting. Then at that regular next meeting, we will make the first reading, and at the public zoning meeting, we will do the second reading, so that it's out of here in August, so that they have time at DCA to be able to do what they've gotta do, so we can get it back to them in October. Okay?
That'll work.
All right, so, public hearing tonight.
Thank you.
And table. All right, item number 6, discuss resolution to adopt a moratorium on the acceptance of rezoning and special acceptance applications in Spalding County. County zoning attorney Newton Galloway is here to discuss and request the board to adopt a moratorium for all development projects that require a rezoning or special exception. Hello, attorney.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As you know, for the past now roughly 2 months, Eva and Eli have been operating the Community Development Department without a director. And my understanding is a director has been retained and will start this week. And the good news of that is it's someone with whom this community is familiar, and he's familiar with the community as well. However, over the past year or so, you have received multiple ordinance revisions, some of which got adopted on first reading, some did not. You have received and voted on a number of ordinances, some of which, as we have discussed, may have contained provisions that were not in the original drafts. And the bottom line to it is also, one other component to this is that Muni Code for a few years has not been updating ordinances. They have updated them some, but the bottom line is they are not fully updated. And there are, if you look on the Muni Code page, you will see ordinances that are listed in their adopted form by you, but that have not been codified. This needs to be cleaned up, and it should be a priority, because I'm from my own experience, I have to tell y'all, I can't tell what's part of the ordinance now and what is not. And that's the first place we have to start. So, rather than hold anybody who's in process up, what we've recommended is that you adopt a moratorium on any new rezoning or special exception applications to hold the status quo. I believe this goes through November. And that gives the new community development director time to work with Eva and Elijah to be able to identify. I believe, Eva, are you still here? Elijah has a list already of those that have been adopted or not, and at what stage they are in the adoption process. Okay. So we will go, that's where we'll start with the new community development director. But you don't need to make the mess any bigger. So hold rezonings and special exceptions until we can get this, we can get the ordinance identified and get any issue about what the ordinance says resolved.
What do you think the size of the amount, or whatever words you want to use, that we will be stopping, pausing?
Well, you have seen a surge in rezoning and special exception applications over the past 15 months. I don't know whether that continues or not, but it is all that Eva and Elijah can do to get appropriate action taken on the ones that are filed and pending. So at least there will be nothing new coming in to impose on them any additional responsibilities or work until the ordinance itself can be identified correctly.
This is a hardship on our citizens because of, crudely said, staff. I hate to say it that way, but that's the way I see it right now. I'm not happy with what we're doing. I understand how we got to where we are, but there are staff, citizens that are being disadvantaged on their time schedules because of us. That's what my concern is. I understand why we need it. It's just, it wasn't long ago that we had one of the commissioners needing some work to be approved. It was just simply a building permit or something like that. And we stopped it, and he had to sit around and wait to be able to get that done. That kind of stuff, if you're a developer, is a killer financially, you know.
Any moratorium is always a problem for property owners. Henry County had a moratorium for the better part of 18 to 24 months. So you can imagine what impact that had. However, it would be worse to have applications come through and then find out that the text of the ordinance under which they were approved either has not been adopted or has been changed in a way that it's difficult for staff to figure it out, or for them to figure it out, or for you to figure it out. I recognize the hardship on the property owners.
Ms. Quinn, comments?
Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm a little bit beyond that with this, because I'm thinking if this is a 90-day moratorium, and according to the state law, you can only have a moratorium for 120 days.
180 days, I think.
180 days, so it's half a year, on the same property. So even if it were 3 months, there is going to be a 3-month lag in business, which means that the work that would have been there for 3 months is not going to be there if the moratorium is lifted. That's a problem. But on the other hand, I don't want to approve another document that has items buried in it that we're just not aware of. It's not fair. When we did the Mill Village overlay down in East Griffin, we had a couple of situations where someone couldn't get their building permit because they couldn't go down and get electricity turned on in the building. That's the kind of thing that's going to mess people up because we're not taking any applications. I have some concerns because we've been trying to do this for 5 years, at least 5 years that I can remember. And we've not successfully gotten that done. So I just hope that when we do get ready to do this, that this is not something that we try to dump on staff who is already trying to do this.
Absolutely.
I would hope that we could get somebody whose feet that we can hold to the fire, because we got so many variables going on over here on this side. But yeah, I don't want to do a moratorium, but we just got to get this thing fixed. And hopefully next question would be timeline. Because I really want us to know that in 3 weeks, we're 35% there. Or something that will tell us that, so we're gonna be good at the end of 90 days, and we can kinda let people know that it's gonna be lifted, so people can know how to plan their stuff. But if it's gonna take longer than that, we need to know that, so that we can publicly let people know that. So, for those same reasons that you said, I don't wanna do it, but we don't really have a choice, especially with the situations that we've encountered.
Eva, can we set it up, step back forward, I'm sorry. Can we set it up so we know how many, do we know how many need to be done?
Yes, sir, we do. Thanks to the work that Elijah has done, we are able to identify what ordinance we need to look at, what needs to come back to you guys for revision. So we have a scope of work that's clear to us. We just have to bring the new director in and make sure that we follow the procedures that need to be followed to be able to do that.
So,
May I ask
Mr.
a
Chairman,
question?
I'm sorry.
Now, when you say you're able to go back and look, because before three community development directors ago, we started this. And so do we go all the way back to who? Because how do we know that the stuff before we knew that there was a problem was fixed? Because isn't that the stuff that we wanted to get changed in the first place?
Some of the problems fixes have become problems
Yes.
themselves.
So we need to really look at the whole
Yeah.
thing.
We need, and the first
Okay.
priority, following what Eva has said, is identifying what has been adopted. And also reviewing, even if it's 42 pages, every section to make certain that what was adopted is what you intended to adopt.
That's correct.
yeah,
Now, I will say that the development of a new zoning ordinance, and keep in mind, you haven't had a new one in 32 years, is a noble goal, but it cannot be done by your staff, and in my view, and it can't be done by y'all. There's too much on the agendas. I would urge you, now keep in mind, I got 5 more months. All right, I would urge you to put out an RFP for a planning and zoning ordinance development firm, to have them come in and do essentially a variation on the same thing we do with comp plans, where they review, conduct take public comments, and then present you with a specific draft. I sat through a hearing in Pike County where Jeremy had drafted the ordinance and presented it, and it took them 3 or 4 work sessions to get through all of the text, and there were constant questions on it, and even though Jeremy was a good planning director down there, in my view, for them, it detracted from his time to do the other stuff.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
Because in order for planning and community development to be able to pay for themselves, that means they've been working their butt off. So I don't want us to add this on top of what they're already doing. But my concern with whoever we get to do this, should we do that, is how will they know if they make an assessment? We don't even know what's in there. So how will they know that the stuff that they're looking at is the stuff that's not supposed to be in there? I know.
Can I make one other comment? They need to start work with you first. And I don't mean to be overly critical about this, but everybody talks about raising the bar. But we have not had anybody tell the staff what that means. Okay? We got some ideas. We know Commissioner Dutton wants magnolia trees on AKB, which you can have. But we
Okay.
need
I get what you're
guidelines.
saying.
The staff needs guidelines on what y'all want.
Well, the mission statement that we had 10 years ago just really doesn't work now. And I agree with you, without going back and standing on the mezzanine and really looking down at what's going on, how can you help them know if this is a way you need to keep going?
And
So-
if we've learned anything over the last 3 years, it is that it does not matter if the ordinance is 10 pages or 2 pages. It takes a work session to go through one section, not an entire ordinance book.
Yeah, look at the alcohol stuff, you know, how many times the road closure stuff,
I
have
mean,
you,
no through trucks is a 2-page ordinance.
and how many times we've had to talk and
4 or
change.
5, yeah.
So we've had a lot of those. All right, let's go back to the big question. Are we going to tonight, first reading on
I
moratorium?
say let's do 90 days. Now, before we say that, we've said a lot of stuff here. We said we don't want them to do it, and we want some other kind of firm to do it. But how do we know that we can get them in 2 weeks, or we can get them in a month? And if we can't get them for a month, that only leaves 60 days left of the moratorium for them to work. So,
Actually, you've already approved it.
Yeah.
So Gerard and Davis actually won the bid for the rewrite of the zoning about 16 months ago,
Yeah.
maybe 17 months ago. And if you instruct me, I will definitely re-engage with them and bring them back to the table for this discussion.
what did they do for us before?
They were instructed through community development that community development was going to write the ordinances, and they backed away.
Boy,
Paul Fricky was involved with some early revisions. He came down, or we met by Zoom. He was involved with some early revisions, but then David pretty much assumed it. Is that correct, Eva?
That is correct.
So maybe we can, since there's already somebody to put hands on, maybe 90 days will give us some reasonable amount of time, or you can let us know as soon as possible what they're looking at in terms of that. You know, we can do 50% of it in 90 days, or.
The only
Thank you.
thing we will be able to do in 90 days, and the moratorium I drafted was for 120.
Okay.
All right, the only thing that will be done in either 90 or 120 days is be able to confirm what's supposed to be in the ordinance as adopted, and if there's anything that's not, be able to come forward with you to make changes to that.
Yeah, we're not gonna get new ordinances in 90 days.
But we may as well go the whole 120, and then the whatever it was that I was reading says that we have the option at any time to remove the moratorium, correct?
That's correct.
So if we're feeling like we're at a place that's good enough for us to do it, and we're being kind of bum rushed about people needing to get stuff done, we can make a consideration then to either end that one early or whatever, but
Now,
yeah.
Mr. Galloway, this is a moratorium specifically for rezoning and special exceptions. So
That's correct.
if by right someone can construct a home, then they can continue with that process.
That's correct. Or if they've got an application that's filed and a record to go through, we're not holding that up. They're entitled to proceed.
But if they come after moratorium and say, I wanna build a house, they can't get anything.
They
It can if it's by right.
If it doesn't require rezoning. Or
It-
special
If it doesn't
exception.
require rezoning, they can go ahead and start.
That is
Okay.
correct.
And that's what my big issue is. It's for the regular I hate to say this, the people who are trying to build homes versus the commercial developers who are looking at huge long-term things. They're gonna have to be able to look at it and say, it's gonna take 90 days more before we get through and put the check mark.
And if I may, most of the building permits that we get, if they need to come before you guys or before any board, it will be for a variance for hardship or anything like that, and they're not included in the moratorium. So
included.
if there is a hardship that needs to be resolved due to a building permit, it will be resolved with a variance.
But if a commercial person came and said, I want to build a blah, 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 and that zoning that they have, nothing has to happen with it, can they do it? No?
Not if it requires a rezoning or a special
Yeah,
exception.
But if it doesn't require rezoning,
If it's
That's
permitted,
what- They don't have
if it's
to get-
permitted by right, this will not hold them back.
That is correct.
If it's
Okay.
permitted by right,
so
they
if
should
they're
be
already in
okay.
a C, if they're in the zone they're in, and they're just talking about doing something, building something, in that zone that we've already got.
Then they're fine.
They're
Okay.
moving. Okay,
One of the reasons, excuse me, for including the special exception is that under House Bill 1405, you hear rezonings and special exceptions, and including variances, depending what they need, together. And what you have seen, particularly with industrial developments, is all three being presented at one time. So therefore, the rezoning and special exception are the targets for the moratorium for anything that is new. If somebody comes up and goes to Eva's office and says, I want a permit for a house in R1, and it meets the requirements of R1, they get it.
Okay.
now let's remember, we're gonna put some pressure also on, the planning people, planning and, what do we call it?
Planning Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission.
The planning folks, to be able to do that. So I wanna make sure that Eva, you pull them in as you're going along. Don't be springing stuff on them, because I want them as our constituents to be able to have time to look at it too, to say, hey, okay, from a constituent's point of view, I'm okay with that, to be able to do that, instead of just getting it to us. The issue is not just get it to us, it's to get it to them too. To be
So,
able to,
and that is the procedure that would have to take place.
yeah, I just wanna make sure, because we're gonna have to pull them in as they go along. Okay,
sir.
all right, so, are we okay with 90 days with the stuff that, Newton
Yeah,
is
120.
It's 120.
what, 120?
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight at 120,
Yes, sir.
And
is,
we will need to change the commencement date, if y'all approve this tonight, to
can we
August the
redo this
4th.
for tonight?
August the 4th at 12 a.m.
I didn't prepare it, but it was for the meeting that didn't happen
Right.
originally.
All right, so can we clean this up between that and 6 o'clock?
That date can actually be
I'll
marked
shoot.
through, and
I'll shoot you one when I get
Or
back to
pen and
y'all.
ink it at least, so we can do it. Okay, all right, we're all square with this tonight,
Okay.
120 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you, Eva. You've got your hands full, and you've got a new director coming in who is going to be overwhelmed. Okay, item number 7, discuss changes to and possible approval of the Childress and Justice LLC contract for indigent defense for juveniles, Nung Pro Trunk. Dr. Ledbetter?
Mr. Chair, this document has the contract language for the terms and the amount in the contract for your approval this evening.
All right, remember we got into this last time when we did all 4.
yes, sir. We did all 4, and
One of them had an admin change, for want of a better wording.
And the minutes are actually not correct for that, special called meeting, cause
Thank you, Newton.
it says that, the bid was accepted at the 7/21 meeting. It was actually accepted at the July 6th meeting. And at the 7/21 meeting, well, at the special called meeting on 7/27, it was said that I explained these documents to the board. That has never happened and was not actually true at all. I have provided those documents to staff, but I had never been given an opportunity to actually explain the contracts. And they had not been sent to either of the guardian ad litems or, Mr. Childress in advance of our approval, which is why I so adamantly agreed with Commissioner Flowers Taylor tonight when she said that she didn't like for contracts to have to be approved and then changed and then come back to you. Because that is not how I would prefer to handle
We
these
agree.
things.
All right, so we had 4 of them, right?
There were 4, yes, sir, and the Jukes firm, contract, they typically prepare that contract for us every time that it's been renewed. This time they did not, but I used their contract and just took out the things that they were not not going to continue to do, which involve the juvenile court, guardian ad litem, and the indigent defense in juvenile court. And so I don't foresee any issues with those. My understanding from Ms. Carter is that, the guardian ad litems, neither of those have, actually responded with approval. They did? Okay. Friday evening, okay.
All right, so,
As of my last communication with her about it, they
okay,
did
so
not yet.
we had 4. We think one, Jukes is all good.
We think 3 are all good,
2 guardian ad litems.
and the 2
Correct.
guardian ad litem.
All right. Now, do we
And
need
then
to?
the
The
Jukes
difference
one.
in this one that is, the reason that I insisted that this one actually come back before you was for 2 reasons. One is the initial term we had as a 1-year contract. I do not have an issue with it being a 2-year contract, but that is a material change. And the additional fees, which I did not recall these being discussed at the previous meeting when you approved
I don't
this,
remember 'em
this
either.
contract. So those additional fees are definitely a significant change from what was presented to you.
Okay. All right. Have you got some other comments you want to make before tonight?
Is this a normal, I mean, cause these additional fees, were they in the last contract that we had for juvenile defense?
They
Because
were
we had
not.
that with Jukes, right?
We did. We had it with Jukes.
So,
I don't do this kind of work, so I can't speak to their reasonableness, but this was not included in in the Jukes contract, and it was not in the other contract that was presented to you, as the low bidder.
yeah, I was looking at that, there's just some weird stuff in there, like if the case lasts more than 5 days, they gotta get a different kind of pay for that, and if there's a special hearing or an appeal, that's a different fee. I'm not sure if that means for the entirety of the appeal, if it takes 6 months, or,
I'm not sure either.
we know that we're gonna be responsible for the guardian ad litem, so, I mean, it says here contractors shall not be responsible for them, I'm not sure why they need that in there. But part of what they do in juvenile court is the stuff that they're saying down here that we hired them for in the first place, that they're asking for extra money. So,
Now, as I understood this issue, this started 1 July, and there hasn't been anybody to be able to do this in the courts because nobody's had contracts.
That's correct.
So right now, we've got, as I understand it,
But
children.
I don't think that this can actually, it's shown as nunc-pro-tunc in this agenda. I don't believe this can be a nunc-pro-tunc, item, because these are material changes from your prior contract.
Okay, we've got children who need stuff, counsel, help, and right now, they don't have it. This is a month and a half in or so, or a month in. That's what James's big issue was with it. We gotta have something now.
I know, but you don't wanna get something that's wrong.
And
I-
now we do have the guardian ad litem in
Well,
place,
and so
which
this
was the
whole thing
largest
about the
concern.
guardian ad litem, $3,000, they don't need to provide a guardian ad litem because we're doing that.
That is
That's
So
correct.
that totally needs to come off. I'm not good with the extra fees because I figure for the, is it $420,000? That's what we contract with you for. All that little stuff that you got written on the bottom is the stuff you're supposed to be doing.
That is correct.
So I would say, I know you saying we need somebody. Either we're not happy with this, we can either offer them, send this back to them without these things in it,
Slide down.
or we can just put the bid back out. Because I don't know that you won't have 5 appeals in 1 year. We could spend $200,000 because people want to appeal their cases because they didn't like whatever it was determined by the judge. And just to assume that they're gonna be responsible for paying the guardian ad litem, we have a contract with them, so you should not be providing or trying to get an extra one, and even if there is a conflict, what was that? Something else about conflict. Specially set calendar days $5,000 to provide administrative and legal indigent services for each specially set calendar day that exceeds 5 calendar court days per month. What does
And
that
often,
mean?
often the attorney will ask for something to be specially set so that it can be heard on a particular day. So I agree with you. My suggestion would be that we send it back with the removal of the additional fees, and if they're not happy with that, then it can be a 1-year initial term, and if they don't like it, then they don't have to do it beyond the first year, if they see that it's not going to be financially feasible for them.
I'm okay with that, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get the kids some, I mean, this is one of the reasons why we said we wanted them, even though they were a little bit more money, was that we wanted to make sure that the kids were being well represented. And all the things that clawbacks that we asked for are in this contract, everything that we asked for. But they trying to get us on this other stuff. That's just.
Okay,
That's
so,
So we're not gonna get a chance to vote on this tonight.
we're gonna table this tonight. I'm looking to make sure everybody's square
Yeah.
with, if you're not, this is the time to speak up. Okay,
And if there is an opportunity for a special called meeting, a very quick special called meeting to,
well, truly, 2 weeks from now is pretty fast for you to be able to move things through the
honestly, if you provide me with the permission to do what I just suggested, which is knock this out and say, if you don't like it, it can be a 1-year contract, then that can be done in a matter of a couple of days, I would assume.
Okay, all right, crank it up, let's see.
Yes,
If we
sir.
have to have a special called meeting, just like the 4, where we did the 4 of them, we'll just bring in just this one to be able to do it again. And
I'm
if-
fine with that. I just wanna make sure that we're not getting washed.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that, it just kinda make me wonder if you just try. If this is how you gonna look out for our people?
And if there's a problem with this, let's ask the judge or one of the people to come forth and say, I need this immediately and I need it to be like this. And we'll try to do something with it. Okay. All
Judge
right.
doesn't care how much we pay, just as long as as the representation is there.
Yes. All right. Item number 8. Discuss referendum for the creation of the Spalding County Marshal's Office. Dr. Ledbetter?
So maybe just to get us started with the discussion here, I do want to make one point extremely clear. The ordinance is not an effort to create a police department or to diminish the role of the best sheriff's department in the state of Georgia. It's intended to support and complement that work while we make sure that we're keeping code enforcement moving in the right direction so that we're keeping them safe and we're providing them with the tools that they need to do their work. It's a challenge. Code enforcement is a challenge. It's a challenge from many perspectives. And if I were sitting in the sheriff's position, I would be frustrated with the way that state law requires us to put the referendum out, calling it a police department instead of a marshal's office that is solely designed to support code enforcement for our communities. And if there is a way, and I would lean back on our county attorney, if there is a way to create such a designed program in support of that, I would welcome that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And our sheriff is an amazing person, and he has done a great job for us. I'm just looking for a way to support and help our code enforcement in our community.
Now, come on forth, Sheriff, just 1 second while he's coming forth. All right, at one time, we vended this out, contracted.
To the people who were doing inspections and.
We vended it out.
We did, and we can do that.
How can they go and write
Just-
tickets and not be under the sheriff?
They can write tickets, but they can't stop trucks from riding on the roads. They will do exactly what we got in the past, which is the bare minimum. And for that, I think we get what we pay for. I think we get what we design. And I think that's gonna be a challenge for us if we really want our community cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we cover all the bases that
Yep.
we've got. And the way we've got it right now, Sheriff.
Sheriff's done an amazing job for us.
Certifies these people to be able to be, law enforcement, to be able to do that kind of stuff so that they're not doing something, getting themselves in a bad situation, when they walk up and knock on a door or something like that.
Yeah, it's always gonna be a hostile environment, especially if you do blight and board up, or if you do, any type of enforcement action where you are telling people that they are not performing at the level that they need, and you're gonna issue a citation, and you're gonna charge them a considerable amount of money for the cleanup that they're gonna be required to do. That's always gonna create challenges for the men and women who do code enforcement. And my biggest concern is that, and I'm sure many share this concern, is that we take care of our employees, the ones that are knocking on the doors and putting themselves in harm's way.
I absolutely agree. And let's remember, our history is not very good in that office. So the population also doesn't think a whole lot of that. So we've got to figure out a way to do this. All right, and we also have Judge Kavanaugh here, so if anytime you decide you would like to step up also, please feel free when you are ready. All right, Sheriff, comments from you?
Last Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, I met with Judge Kavanaugh, and we sat down and we talked about how we could do something with code enforcement. What has been proposed by the county is not what we discussed, is it? No, ma'am. Not what we discussed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Once this passes, if it's put to the voters, and it does pass, it's up to the voters to get it passed. But at that point, the responsibility of code enforcement, who's assigned to it, rests with the 5 people that are sitting on that podium. So if it comes down to a point of you don't like what the sheriff's doing, whether it's me or anybody else, the 5 people up there on that podium can vote to say, okay, we're going to have the sheriff go back to doing his constitutional responsibilities, and we are going to form, since we already have a police department, we are just going to make our police department do the jobs that the sheriff's doing. So my question first is this: where's the money going to come from to do this? Where's it going to come from? Do you know how much it costs to stand up a police department? You're talking about everything from pins to patrol cars. You're talking about computers. You're talking about getting GCIC and NCIC access. All of that. What the ultimate goal here is, I don't fault anybody, because I think there are a lot of moving parts that are happening behind the curtains. I think the ultimate goal here is to form a Spalding County Police Department so it can be controlled. I'm not ashamed to say that. Not scared to say that. I hadn't been in this seat for 10 years almost now to be scared to stay up here and say anything.
Good, good.
What you're going to end up having is you're going to end up having a City of Griffin Police Department. You're going to have a Spalding County Sheriff's Office and a Spalding County Police Department or Marshal Service. How confusing is that to people who live in this community? The people in this community are not stupid.
Agree.
They will see what's going on here. And I'm telling you, I will not support this. My name will not be associated with or supporting this at all. This is ridiculous. I don't even know how we got from having a conversation sitting in my office that we thought we had things worked out, sitting here talking about the formation of a police department for the county. And I don't care how it's worded or what the intent is. That's exactly what's happening. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Year to date this year, not by cooking numbers, cooking books, or anything like that, there has been a 24% reduction in crime in this county.
Way to go,
You
Sheriff.
find somebody to put in my place and do what my people do for this community, and I'll quit.
Daryl, I'm sorry. Whatever it is that you got going on, nobody up here has said anything about replacing you or your people. We're trying to get somebody to enforce code enforcement. Wait a minute. If you and Rita had a meeting, you didn't have it with us. So how the hell are we supposed to know what it is that y'all discussed?
Because
Don't
how the hell Dr. Ledbetter asked her to come meet with me?
Well, but I'm telling you, you're acting like Steve has a vote. These are the people that vote up here. You didn't come to us and ask us what we wanted. Nobody has said anything about trying to create a police department or to take over what it is that you're doing. If you got a 24% decrease in crime, I'm going to jump up and kick my leg up because I think that's hallelujah good. But nobody has indicated that we're trying to take your people or your job.
Look at the agenda. Look at the agenda that was published.
I
The
see the
first
agenda.
one that was put out, it was sent to me highlighted, and what does it say?
Read it to me.
I'm not blaming y'all. What I'm saying is there's some stuff going on here that's not on the up and up.
Example what?
There's forming a police department that is one step away from having a county police department, and you can't do away with the sheriff's office, a constitutional requirement. But you're talking about the birth of an entire law enforcement agency is what's going to end up happening. Whether it's the 5 of you sitting up there that do it, or after all of us are gone, for one reason or another, the next ones who sit up here are going to vote to do that because they're not going to like the fact of what the sheriff is doing, the responsibilities the sheriff has, the authority and the power that the sheriff has. For 10 years almost, I have busted my butt, and my people have busted our butts, and I have bragged openly to other sheriffs and people in this community about the relationship that we have. All these other sheriffs that talk about that they butt heads continuously with their commissioners, I'm like, my commissioners can come and sit down and talk with me about what's going on. I had no idea how it went from a conversation that Dr. Ledbetter asked the judge to have with me to it being put on the agenda to start a police department. I had no idea that any of that was going on, just like none of you had any idea it was going on.
And what was that conversation with you and Judge?
We talked. Go ahead, Judge.
Because first of all, this is what I'm going to say. We said we needed a code enforcement officer. You said you would not deputize any code enforcement officer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how are we going to enforce the codes without people who are authorized to do that? And if you won't do it, we got to find somebody to do it.
Well, I can tell you this. There's nowhere in Georgia law, anywhere that says a code enforcement officer has to be certified. Nowhere.
Okay, that's
They
good.
have to be certified to write citations. Earlier this afternoon, or this morning, I sent you an answer to that. You can give me 3 or 4 people in a traffic enforcement unit. I will send those people out, and they will work traffic, including doing the truck stuff that code enforcement does. And you can have code enforcement officers that you hire to work code enforcement. Because if you remember, when I came into office, the trucks that they drove had the word sheriff written on the side of them. But you know what was mounted on the dash of each one of those cars? A radar. What does code enforcement need with a radar?
They don't.
So you know what they did? They started working traffic outside of what they were supposed to be doing. When Webb was the marshal here, I swore him in. Do you know that he came to us one afternoon and said, I need to get your SWAT team to come hit a house. I got a search warrant signed for it. It went outside of what they were doing. They were looking at hitting a house where they were dogfighting and gambling that was gang related. And he contacted us about having our SWAT team go and hit it for him with about 45 minutes notice. It got outside of the scope of what they said they were going to be doing.
Steve, were you aware of that?
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't
Yeah.
know he had a search warrant.
So you didn't notify Steve that he had come to you about that? I mean, I know you're the sheriff, you don't have to tell anybody. But wouldn't you think that letting the county manager, his boss, know that was
Well, I was
happening?
under the assumption that if he did it, he would have let the county manager know himself, because that's his immediate supervisor, not me.
Okay, all right.
So, all of that happened. And then this crap that went on with Lou and Jonathan, I think I would feel totally different about it if what should have happened to those two people happened to those two people. They should have been fired. They admitted what they did. They admitted to soliciting that young lady across the hall. They admitted to it. They should have been fired. But they were allowed to resign, and do you know what else they got? They got 2 weeks of pay on top of it. What message did that send to that lady across the hall? What did that say to her? Yeah. Am I lying or am I right?
You're right. They resigned in lieu of termination. Sure did. If I'd gotten to them, it would have been a termination.
So how, if that kind of stuff is going on in code enforcement, it means they're not being watched, they're not being supervised. That's why I'm not swearing another one in. I dodged a bullet on 2 of those, 2 different times. And eventually, it's gonna come back on me. The vicarious liability involved in it is gonna come rest on my shoulders.
Well, I'm not mad at you because you don't want it to
I know,
deputize him,
but-
but I'm saying to you, that makes you, let you know, we have to do something.
Right, and that's
We
what
have
I
to do
proposed this
something.
morning. You can hire code enforcement people to work code enforcement, and I'll put officers on the road working traffic to handle the traffic end of it. There's no need for a code enforcement officer to get a search warrant. They can contact one of us and we'll work with them to get a search warrant. If they are going out on a call, just like animal control, if they're going out on a call where they know they're gonna encounter somebody, there's been a problem with them in the past, all they gotta do is call us. They have access to our radio frequency. All they gotta do is call and say, "Could you have a unit meet me right here? I'm going to this place, I'm gonna do this right here, and I've had problems with this person before." We do that already.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense in duplicating stuff, but I'm trying to find an email. Did y'all get the email from him?
I did.
I forwarded it to that whole email chain that I sent to Ms. Wyndham, and I
Yes.
think all of you were included on it, and Judge Kavanaugh was included. I'm sorry, you're having to stand over there.
That's okay, I'm fine.
You
What
were.
When I
No,
opened it,
no, I'm fine.
6:45.
But that was the proposal that I sent out this morning.
all right, let's,
We are starting down a slippery slope with this. This is the same thing as consolidation by annexation. You take a little bit at a time. The next thing you know, when the marshals get started, and it started as a police force, then they're gonna drag in animal control will be under it, there'll be all these other things under it, and where's the money gonna come from? Well, we're gonna take some money away from the sheriff to do it. And I'll do this, if anybody in the public, anybody, wants to look at my budget, I'll put it on a thumb drive, and I'll have them at the front window of the sheriff's office. You can come pick up a copy of it, and I'll give it to you for free. And you show me in there, and I'm not talking to y'all, anybody in public, show me in there where we're wasting money, where our budget can be cut any more than it is. I got 600 people living in a jail out there that's about to fall in. Amen. And we've got people out here, we're building parks. I'm not saying replace gyms with parks with jails or anything like that, but what I'm saying, sooner or later, we got to take responsibility to do what we have to do when it comes to that stuff. And we're talking about funding another law enforcement agency? Really? And Ms. Gwen, to get to the point where we could fund the jail out of that fund that you were talking about earlier, going at the current rate, we're going to take about 200 years.
I know. That's
Yeah.
why I said it.
So, I mean, but I mean, we are crossing a bridge without looking for a better path. We're crossing a rickety bridge without looking for a better path to take before we jump the shark and do something drastic that we could avoid doing, and it'd be a whole lot more effective. We already have policies and everything in place. We're nationally accredited. We're state certified. our policies stand up that these officers would fall under if we had the traffic officers. And y'all could have your people work code enforcement. Code enforcement officers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, go into more places under the guise of code enforcement officers than we can as law enforcement officers. And I'm sorry, this is just totally slapped me in the face when I started finding out about this stuff.
You need to stop getting upset by stuff like this until you got all the answers. Because clearly, none of us are aware or have any intentions of making a police department. But to go back to what you said about stuff happening 5 years from now. In 1960, I walked with a picket line in front of that police department in that courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
So people could vote and people could be treated equal.
Mhm.
Here it is, 40, 50 years later, and now people are still being refused to vote, still being treated wrong because of their race or their gender or whatever. So I can't, and you shouldn't, worry about what somebody gonna do in 5
No,
years.
ma'am, I understand.
Because I'm gonna be at Brightmore.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
I'm making a decision what I think is good for us
I
right
agree.
now.
In 1960, you were marching, but in 2026, you're sitting in that chair right there. Where
I'm
in
still fighting.
That's right. In 1960, you couldn't have done that. So what you started back then ended up with where you are now. And if this starts down the road, that it's going to start right now, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or 60 years, it's going to be the start of it. And it's always best to stop it at the beginning before it grows. It's like somebody telling you you have cancer and then waiting and waiting and waiting. If you knock it out, you treat it, you do the surgery and everything in the very beginning when the doctor first tells you, then you don't have to worry about what happens on down the road.
I think we're all looking for the path of least resistance. And so it has been my understanding, and maybe I assume this, that you didn't want to have nothing to do with any parts of code enforcement.
No, ma'am.
So that's why we've never approached you. That's why I've never approached you.
But that's why I came up with, after seeing this, that's why I came up with the solution of having my people work the traffic end of it. They're already certified. We provide the equipment, and Spalding County Code Enforcement can focus on code enforcement.
But Dr. Ledbetter, what's your issue with what they propose?
My concern is that we would not have code enforcement willing to walk up to a door and enforce actions for code enforcement. And that's why the sheriff has been absolutely wonderful to us in the past 4.5 years to deputize people. That's been a blessing. And for us to be able to do that would continue to be a blessing. I'm really concerned that we're going to be limited in the number of people that will come and support us in code enforcement if we don't do something in support of them.
Mr. Ledbetter, can I add something to that?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
They're not gonna come to the door whether they're certified or not. It doesn't matter. And of course, being certified doesn't give them the opportunity or the rights to kick in a door.
That is correct. I just don't want them to be hurt.
Well, the reason I was turning around and asking Ms. O'Connor, before I was the sheriff, I worked for the city of Griffin for almost 30 years before retiring. The lady that used to be the chief of code enforcement for the city of Griffin was a lady named Carol Rainwater. Carol Rainwater wasn't a certified officer, and she went from being a code enforcement officer to heading the place. She never carried a gun. And if she needed us, they called us, and we went. My deputies go to doors all the time. Yeah, they're armed, but the person on the other side of the door, it's not going to stop them from shooting at them. Firefighters go up to doors all the time.
I mean, we do the same thing with our people at Leisure Services. We've told them if there is a problem, you first thing is call law enforcement.
Right.
We're not asking them to engage with people. So this for me would be basically the same. The only problem for us is that we can't give you four road people. We only have 5 code enforcement slots. So.
About 3.
I don't
And
know.
it would start immediately.
I want to,
Say something, y'all.
It would be cheaper than establishing a county police department.
oh, yeah.
It
We're
would be
trying to,
cheaper
Rita,
than
we just wanna
establishing
get
a
where our
marshal
stuff is
service.
working. Nobody wants to have another department, but in lieu of the fact that we were under the belief that you didn't wanna be bothered with us about that, you know,
See,
we
what it
did
led
what
up
we had
to-
to do next.
Traffic is traffic. You felt there was a conflict with you, since you're enforcing county ordinances, and if it was sworn in by you and they come to you, and there is a huge conflict. I see a conflict.
And also, her
Because they can do
constables
other
do not
stuff.
have
Yes,
the
yes.
authority.
Yeah.
Okay, so if
Right.
he swears them in, they can do everything that a deputy can do, not just go and check to see if
Correct.
people got a screen on their window or grass too high. That's all we want, isn't it? Screen on the window, too many cars in the yard,
Roger.
your
Uh,
roof falling in.
I think the issue really and truly is Steve's issue with concern for the people who work for him, walking up to a door. I think that's the basis of what this is about. He is concerned that if somebody walks up to the door, knocks on the door, and they haven't been trained on what to do if there's an incident, that's a concern to him to be able to do that.
What kind of, we don't require people to go to get post certified or any of that stuff anywhere for code enforcement, do we?
We did when they were
Working for
deputized under the sheriff's department.
deputized.
Yes, ma'am.
we, you know, we have a number of options. One, we used to do it with Abbott or whoever it was. That was an option we did. We got what we thought was low service. We
Yeah.
didn't like what we liked, what we got. We decided we would increase the whole thing and go to the sheriff and be able to take a step way up to be able to say, we want certified law enforcement officers to be doing code enforcement. And there are certain part of them, I believe, that would like to do that. Be certified and do code enforcement. The issue is, the last couple of us have not been very good for us to the community.
Oh, totally.
So
Totally.
now-
I mean, the word marshal makes people start sweating as soon as you say it. But I think that we can work around this.
See, do we
I think
need-
we just need to be able to figure out what is going to work. But
Do we need three people to work traffic? Is traffic our issue with code enforcement?
I think I wouldn't even say it's 50% of the issue.
I agree.
Trash, people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing is basically,
Yard stuff,
you need yards done.
that's the kind of
You
stuff. So
you're on the side of the road parked and you're not supposed to do it, that kind of thing.
And so, Sheriff, you guys gonna be able to handle traffic? Yeah, what you saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But can a code enforcement person write a ticket?
They can write a code enforcement ticket.
Ticket, right, not a police ticket.
But, and I don't know if this has any effect on it, Ms. Wyndham may have to answer this question. But I think it was 2 years ago when Spalding County adopted the uniform rules of the road as county ordinance. So I believe, couldn't they?
It becomes
They
really
can't
touchy.
stop them.
Yeah, they can't make
That's the
them,
problem. Is
They
they can't
can't
make an
stop
arrest.
them.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the problem.
See, I'm not so interested, we're talking about three bodies, okay? People to be able to do this. With the sheriff's idea, he needs 3 people to do traffic. I don't know if we need that many people to do traffic from what we want.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I would have said, because we only had four code enforcement officers.
Correct.
We really need 2 on the road. So the question is, in our budget, we were to hire 1 other code enforcement
That's
officer.
correct. We've got 4 positions. So if you did 2 deputies and then 2 code enforcement, we can sure give it a shot.
So was one of those jobs the director of?
That's correct.
So that's basically 2 people's job. I mean, money for 2
That
people's
person
job.
is an administrator and also an officer.
So,
Yes.
and who is the person that the code enforcement officers will report to?
So the code enforcement officers would report to that chief code enforcement officer. That was how it was structured. And if we
Okay.
do the 2 and 2, then I think the opportunity for us is to move the 2 code enforcement officers over to community development and let community development handle just the code. And then the 2 deputies would go for traffic enforcement for no through trucks.
Does anybody get the money to see how that's gonna work?
No.
I mean, we already got 4 people. And the lady who is there now, What about her job?
Her job is still there,
Okay.
but it would be, in support of community development / code enforcement for that position, because there would only be 2 code enforcement officers.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say about this. We understand the situation where Daryl done came up here and got us told. And, and,
I
And-
appreciate you stepping forward and saying it with the vigor that you've got and the honesty and the passion. We understood that. Some of us didn't understand where it was coming from. Thank you for stepping forward and trusting us that we understand how strongly you feel about it.
But I'm gonna always be honest with y'all, good, bad, or ugly. And my job is to take care of and be responsible to the people of the community and the men and women who work at my agency. I gotta watch out for them too.
Oh, we agree. We agree.
I don't have a problem with, you know, if this is what it takes to make Daryl and the rest of the sheriff's department understand that we ain't trying to be the police, that's fine. But we need to figure out if we need 3 officers to do that, then we need to figure out to do it. Because at the end of the day, what else we got? If the sheriff goes out into the community and campaigns against us on a ballot, they just wasted that ink, okay? So,
All right, how many people do we
Old
talking
people.
about? Really and truly, Steve? We're talking about 6 people? Okay, let's get real honest.
three road people.
2 people.
Yeah, it would
for-
be 2 and 2. That's
2 and 2.
2 and 2. So now we're going to go from 3 people.
No,
You have
you
4
have
people.
4.
We got 4 people down to 2. We're going to cut them in half.
Yes, that is correct.
But the other
can't-
half is going to work for the sheriff until we can figure out what.
And
that's the other
truly,
person.
so that you understand, the 4 people we had, in my mind, we weren't gaining ahead. Code enforcement was not cleaning up this community in rapid bounds.
Well, you know, you said in our plan that you're gonna add more people to code enforcement. So if that is the case, if the sheriff requires 3 people to do what it is that we need to do countywide, then we should figure out how to pay for that person and also put additional person on code enforcement.
That's good.
You just went up on your military.
So that's what the issue is, and I'm, you know, this is upstaffing.
Yeah.
And this is expensive.
Well, it is, but when you look at what you're gonna get, that's the difference with planning and development. When we didn't hardly have anybody in there, they weren't making any money, the mistakes were happening, then you get fully staffed, now you get your budget back. Not only did they pay for themselves, but they gave us some money. So, not that I'm looking for them to write enough tickets to give us money, but if they're keeping people from violating on the road, then we can worry about trash, grass, and the stuff that's happening in the neighborhood.
All right, now let's talk.
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead, Sheriff.
could we stay at 2 and 2?
That would make Steve happy.
Evaluate it between now and July 1 and address it again before the new budget year comes in.
Let's say that we do stay that, and a great point to be able to do that. These 2 people that are staying with us, what are they're not gonna be certified. So what's their job description look like?
Code enforcement only, so it would be trash and nuisance properties.
Which is what they're doing
And
now.
yes,
People
enforcing
complain
our-
about the grass
That is
being
correct.
high, dumping
Yep.
trash.
Okay, now, what's the possibility of hiring those people at current prices?
We have one of them already, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you've got it in your budget. It's already budgeted.
So, we would, okay, all right, so for us, it would break even
Correct,
for this year.
correct. That's
Okay.
what the sheriff is recommending.
Yeah, just stay where we are, just assign 2 of the people to him, let him hire 2, whatever, get 2 people.
2 deputies to.
2 deputies,
to
yeah.
do
We're
traffic.
just moving to, we're not gonna, this isn't some matrix organization. We're just gonna take those 2 and put them in his organization. So he's gonna be plussed up to you on our side.
Would lose two.
Would lose
Correct.
two to be a zero sum. All right,
If we got two deputies, they need to be cross-trained to be there to support the two code enforcement officers, even though I don't want them out there going to houses for trash and stuff. But they need to work the same hours as code enforcement, and if they need them, they immediately respond, no matter what they're doing. They can pull over cars, do whatever, but they immediately need to respond to support them, and I feel that they need to have they have training, code enforcement training, just so we do have to make arrest or something comes up to have to take warrants, they need to have the training to be able to do the right wording and everything to, with the statutes and stuff.
we agree with that,
Yeah,
Sheriff?
a lot of times it would end up being obstruction anyway, or something along those lines. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay, my only fear is, I remember the first time Charles and Abbott went out, and they were going out to Josh Sykes' house out there on Brooks Road. And I told him, I said, you need to call a deputy. Oh, we got this. I said, you need to call a deputy. Next thing you know, he was chasing around with a baseball bat. So, I mean, that's it. But knowing the people, I know that, but,
You don't always
they
know.
they need to run everything through dispatch. Take heed to all the 10 zeros and all that's listed on there, so they'll know. I mean, the cautions and stuff.
Do you,
What's a 10-0?
Caution, use caution.
Use caution.
all right, do you need anything from us on this solution?
I do not.
Do we have to have an MOU between us and the sheriff's department?
We should, yes.
Okay. All right.
You okay with that, Sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I say
Judge Kavanaugh?
something?
Yes.
Please. No, you've made good points, and I appreciate it. When I went to talk to the sheriff, it was because he was not wanting to swear code enforcement officers like he had in the past. When I sat down in his office, and we were there for almost 2 hours, I believe, wasn't it? We discussed a lot of what you've discussed here today. And he explained to me his reasoning, and I certainly understood his reasoning and his concern about the liability of swearing these officers, and then they go marching out of his department, and he doesn't have control over them. They're working for somebody else. And I understand that. If I were to swear someone as under my responsibilities, I certainly wouldn't want them to bounce off and go work for somebody else. And I don't think any of you would either. But during our conversation, what the resolution that we came up with was to establish a county marshal service strictly with the duties or for the purpose of enforcing the county ordinance violations. And I feel like had this resolution been drawn that way, strictly for the purpose of enforcing county ordinance violations, he wouldn't have had a problem.
Judge Kavanaugh, the resolution cannot be drawn that way. It is mandatory in the county police force code of OCGA that it be worded exactly as it was. That's why I explained it step by step in the email that I sent out this morning,
I
because
understand that. But it also said for the purpose of establishing a county police department.
a
to
county
be
police
known
force.
As the office of county marshal, why couldn't it also say for the office of county marshal for the sole purpose of enforcing the county ordinance?
Because the ballot language that is required by the statute is mandatory. I put in to be called the office of county marshal because that is what I was told that it was to be called. But the ballot language in the referendum is very specific and it's mandatory. It shall. It could not be changed.
But with all due respect, Stephanie, if you can add.
I didn't add it to
office
the
of
ballot
county marshal,
language.
why couldn't it say for the purpose of?
I didn't add it to the ballot language.
Okay.
And the ordinance that they passed is what would establish the powers and the duties of the officers, not the resolution itself. The resolution is a call for an election, and that is all that it is. It is a call for an election. And Sheriff Dix is absolutely right that while this particular board may feel one way, the board after them might feel a totally different
Right.
way.
They may. And if they got upset with our sheriff, they could cause a lot of damage in this county.
And
That's
I
a lot
don't-
of
I don't
power
think
there.
anybody on our board is even contemplating.
Not on this board, no.
Yeah, contemplating stepping into that, so that next step could be done. We're not contemplating the first step. If we don't contemplate the first step, which is taking the referendum, then we can't ever get to the second step. So I
I
don't
don't have
know.
an issue with going on and what Ryan said, and we do that, I think that
Yep.
we don't come to the
MOU.
solution, yeah.
I think what the sheriff has proposed is an excellent idea.
Okay, all right.
So let me just ask this one thing. I feel like at some point when I first came here, that there were deputies doing code enforcement, or they were the sheriff's code enforcement. The truck said sheriff. And I kind of feel like one of the issues that we had was that because those officers were deputy sheriffs, that if there were an emergency, they stopped being code enforcement and they went to their sheriff's job. And for me, that would kind of be kind of like, how often does that happen? You know.
Not very often.
So yeah, that would just be my only concern with this situation. But you know, just looking at where we are, I think the easier, softer way would be to look at doing what we've suggested.
And I also think, Ms. Glenn, that there was an issue with the serving two masters in that time as well, whereas they answered to
Oh, yeah,
Mr.
he wasn't
Wilson,
even
but
the
then
sheriff
they
then,
also
was he?
answered
Somebody
to
else.
the sheriff. It wasn't Sheriff Diggs.
Yeah.
but-
Okay.
All right, so we, 2-2 and an MOU. We're all
Okay.
square on
So we
that?
don't got to do this tonight then.
No,
No.
no,
right.
nothing. There will be, only the MOU is the only issue we're gonna come up with later.
All right.
All right, Sheriff, you're happy with that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Judge Kavanaugh,
Thank
you're
you
in.
so much for coming
If
in
the
and
sheriff's
sharing.
happy, I'm happy.
All right.
Thank you, Rita.
Appreciate it, Judge.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
Thank you
All
all.
right, Sheriff.
Thank y'all.
Picture.
Sorry this got so far out of hand. This was not our intent, I can tell you. Item number 9. Discuss Southern Natural Gas right-of-way easement at Dundee Lake. Dr. Ledbetter.
Thanks, sir. Staff recommends approval of the proposed right-of-way easement agreement between Spalding County and Southern Natural Gas Company, LLC, for property owned by Spalding County. This easement will allow Southern Natural Gas to construct and maintain critical energy infrastructure while providing compensation and other benefits to the county as part of this transaction. The proposed easement grants Southern Natural Gas a permanent right-of-way corridor and temporary construction workspace necessary to complete the Riverdale Loop Line project. The agreement contains provisions requiring the company to restore disturbed areas following construction and provides for compensation of actual physical damages resulting from construction activities. The easement also preserves the county's ability to utilize the property for compatible purposes while protecting the safety and operational integrity of the pipeline infrastructure. Importantly, staff has not viewed this transaction solely as the sale of an easement. Over the course of discussions, I've worked closely with Madison Teague and Luke Torbert of Quarry Engineering to identify additional opportunities. Along with TJ and Penelope, who are sitting in the back of the room, we have worked diligently to create an important north-south connection for this construction easement. Through those discussions, we have engaged Southern Natural Gas regarding the potential development of a recreational trail connecting across the property. Specifically, staff has explored opportunities to construct a 10-foot wide multi-use trail that would traverse the property and create an important north-south connection within Spalding County. If successfully implemented, this trail connection would improve access to county recreational facilities and provide a meaningful transportation and recreation link for residents in the northern portion of the county, including the communities of Jordan Hill, Baptist Camp Road, and Sun City Peachtree. Such a connection would advance the county's long-term vision of expanding pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure while creating an additional public benefit associated with this project. While discussions regarding the trail concept remain ongoing, the cooperation demonstrated by Southern Natural Gas presents an opportunity for the county to leverage this infrastructure project to support broader community goals. Staff believes this collaboration approach may allow Spalding County to maximize the value received from the easement transaction and potentially create a lasting recreational asset that will benefit residents for years to come. For these reasons, staff recommends approval of the Southern Natural Gas right-of-way easement and authorization for the chairman to execute the necessary documents subject to final review by the county attorney. Approval will allow the project to move forward while preserving the county's ability to continue pursuing additional community enhancements, including the proposed trail connection through ongoing coordination with Southern Natural Gas and Croy Engineering. I would entertain any questions.
Okay, does everybody understand what that was all about?
Yeah, what's the length of that?
It is,
3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks?
no, it's almost,
A mile, this is 2,400 feet.
yeah, 2,400 feet is almost half a mile.
Okay. So, let me understand. So we're not asking them to pay us for this easement?
No, they are going to pay us for the easement, plus they are looking to bring additional funding to the table to satisfy the requirements that we're asking for a 10-foot trail. We're asking for the moon to begin with. We're asking for them to asphalt that entire trail that would be 10 feet wide, the length of our property. We're also working to extend that trail all the way up to Jordan Hill Road, which will follow their path of construction, so that we can afford those who are living on Jordan Hill, Baptist Camp, and inside of Sun City, Peachtree, that area of our community, access into the park at Dundee Lake.
So you're asking them to pave the trail so that it can connect to the Dundee Lake Park?
That is correct, yes ma'am.
Okay, but according to our document, we're gonna make this transaction for $10. That's what the paper says.
No, I think the easement amount was 26,000 some change.
Which page is that on? Cause I didn't see that.
It was in on the last agenda. I don't recall the amount.
So I have been talking to Steve about this, and I think that, that's prime park property. I get it, they're gonna go through there anyway, but we should be able to have some benefit out of them putting this structure there that's gonna be there forever. So, I just hate to.
It's our land.
I don't know these people, and I'm like, we need to know on the front side that you're gonna do what you said you're gonna do. I don't see anything in writing that says you're gonna project us, you're really gonna make us this walking trail. We're giving you 2 temporary easements at no charge. I still don't see that on here. And we're giving, so I'm just trying to, I don't want us to get on the other end and they've done all the construction and we don't have anything in writing that says there's gonna be a trail here.
We've been down that road before.
Yeah. If it ain't wrote down, it didn't happen.
Okay.
I can look up the amount from the last agenda packet, because it was included in that.
It was included in the last one.
Okay.
I don't know what
Because
it
it does say on this document that y'all gave to us that this will be transferred for a fee simple $10.
$10 in good and valuable, other good and valuable consideration is standard deed language. You rarely put the amount that you're actually paying into a document like this.
Do you have the last one?
Yeah, but I don't know what good and valuable means. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know what it means on this paper.
All right, before tonight,
We'll get the total for you.
but our intent is for them to put walking trail
That's what we're asking for, yes, sir.
10 foot wide all the way around and maintain it, or are we gonna maintain it?
It would be our maintenance.
Okay, so
'Cause
once
it's our
we
property.
want them to build it the first time, and we'll take it to be able to go with it from there.
That is correct.
And
Now they gotta build it to our standard.
Yes.
Just,
Yeah, TJ and
No
his whole
magnolia
team
tree.
is part of this.
I like magnolia trees.
all right, Any questions about this before tonight?
So,
The easement itself, the document is approved as to form. I've reviewed it about 10 times, so.
Does it have a number in there?
It does not. It has $10 in it, but I'm still looking for that.
Okay.
But
Before,
so when you say other good and valuable stuff, can you just say a 25-foot, 2,500 foot?
that could be included in a whereas paragraph.
Well, I'm just saying, just put it on the paper.
okay, all right.
If they don't like it, maybe they won't read it, and then they'll go ahead and sign it.
All right, is this a time sensitive, if you can't get this done tonight?
Do we need it tonight, Steve?
They need the easement tonight. They are working very diligently to complete this, construction phase of the pipeline that they're constructing. And they're using a portion of the property that you see in front of you as construction easements. That's also a part of some of the items that are on that previous item that was listed in our last meeting.
All right,
So the
Can-
little Croy lady was supposed to be helping to negotiate for us, apparently.
She has done a fabulous job at that. At last count, TJ, I think we had roughly $800,000 for the trail that was running from Jordan Hill all the way through the property. That was the high end. I don't think that they are going to invest that much money in us, but I do think that they are going to invest some before they come back and say, we're just gonna take it by, condemnation.
one, they can. Two, let's start with our action of we want $800,000 or whatever it is, and if they say, we'll give you half of that, we'll talk about the half of it that we'll do.
800,000, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so,
They could,
I thought you said it was like 26,000.
that's how much they're giving us for the easement.
So, I mean, you know, once it's signed, they're a utility. They could just tell us to
they don't have to do it,
blow it off.
yes.
So, I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy
Okay.
about this.
Let's see about, attorney, can you crank up something so it's in there between now and 50 minutes from now?
Not
I
quite
mean,
sure.
because they have to still agree to it, right?
No,
Hey.
yeah.
They would still have to agree to it.
Yeah, I think there needs to be something in there that says that there's an expectation. Because in real life, I would just assume them not give us $26,000 if they say they're gonna put this 10-foot wide walking trail through there. They can have that money.
We agree.
800,000 in one hand, 26,000 the other?
So,
Yep.
so yeah, maybe you can say fee simple, 2,500 foot walking trail. Keep them $26,000.
We don't have to give them anything in fee simple. We already own it, so they don't have to give us anything. It's our land.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not crying about $26,000. I'm crying about some pavement on the ground.
All right, so let's talk about what we're gonna do at 6 o'clock. Attorney?
At 6 o'clock, Mr. Chairman, you really do need to approve this easement.
Unfortunately,
That would be the ask.
that is
All
the
right,
ask.
so,
And if we don't,
They're gonna take it.
well, they're gonna take it anyway.
could,
They
Could-
still got to take us to court, don't they?
Yes, they
Well-
would.
Maybe we'll
As
have
soon
our
as they
stuff
file
together.
it, they get the land.
That's true.
all right, so could we tonight say, contingent upon the wording of, and put that in there tomorrow or the next day?
They're not gonna allow this contingency in the easement. It's not the appropriate place for it. It's just not.
Yeah, I think the ask is to allow staff to continue to work with Southern Natural Gas in support of putting a walking trail along the easement that you're approving. That's really the only option I think we have.
Okay, I'm okay with that, since we're gonna do something tonight with it. Miss Gwen, you're,
I'm just not gonna vote for it.
okay,
Because
okay, we
My
understand.
spirits say they gonna get us.
All right, any other comments on this before we,
No, sir.
all right, believe that's all there is. Do I have anything else from attorney?
No, sir.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. We're adjourned till 6 o'clock.
They're waiting.
for the last one?
It was on the July
Just give me one
sixth
second, I gotta
agenda.
talk to the sheriff.